All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I am going to be doing a live using the September sketch, which is a wreath. I love a good wreath sketch. And yeah, I am using the Spice collection. I don't know if I should have checked to see if that is still available in the shop. I'm also using, I think I'm going to use this little stencil that I got during Christmas in July. And I am going to use my Tim Holtz pencils. And this might be a, lots of color or go home type of layout, because I might use some of my stencil butters as well. Hi, Tisa. Thanks for popping in. And so I thought I cut out this wreath just in case. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to use it because I haven't done my the mixed media idea that I haven't done before. So this is either going to layer on top of it, or it'll be a backup if I decide to throw the whole thing out. And so I'm going to use this for my title, this favorite. And I'm scrapbooking this picture of my friend and her husband. Now, last week, I, sent out a distress call to some of my friends because I have like no fall pictures to scrapbook, and I have some fall things that fall theme product that I want to use, and so they came through. So I'm going to use that for picture for this layout, and I'm using Vicki Boutin paper, foundations paper as well. So that is what I have going on. So I thought I would start with the mixed media part, and I just cut out some circles out on my Cricut, just out of file folder paper, just to use as a round template. And so I also cut like a ring, so if I wanted to use like a larger size, I could move it around. I don't know how many of these I'm going to use, but I'm going to go ahead and start. Let me get a paintbrush. And so first of all, I think I am going to just soak my distress crayon in water a little bit. Oh, are you, Tisa? I haven't used it yet, so I'm excited. So I'm just going to add a little bit of pink. And so that one was pickled raspberry. And add a little bit of villainous potion. And then I have Faded Jeans is the other one I'm using. And if I don't get enough pigment from using the pencils, I can always grab my watercolor tray. So there is my circle so far. So this is my first live for a while. I just had like a a lot going on in August and September, so it's fun to be back. So today, my little pooch Delilah, we took her in to get spayed yesterday, and so today is her first day home, and I haven't had a female dog for a long time, and so she has to be careful for a couple weeks, and I'm just trying to figure everything out. This is a big piece up here. Hi, Amy. Thanks for joining in. So now that I kind of have some circles down, I think I can go in without my stencil and just make my lines a little bolder. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World. They have Animation Station, which is like my absolute favorite thing to do. And so they show you how to draw different characters, and you know, it's all about like not using an eraser or anything. You just like use really faint lines, and then the lines that you like, you come back and make them darker. Basic animation 101, I guess. So let's see if I'm going to like it behind it. And I think it'll work. I think it just needs to be a bit wider. So let me take oh, look, I got pink right in the center. What am I gonna do about that? All right, I'm going to have to give that some thought. The way that it might end up covered with embellishments anyway. You know how I get. If you are a clean scrapbooker, this is not for you. Oh my gosh. But thankfully, I'm a bit of a mess, so it all works. Hi, T. So that is getting a little blendy. That I just have to be careful where that aged mahogany hits some of the other colors. So on the sketch, it has a bunch of different splatters. So T, if you haven't done this one yet, it's right up your alley. So yeah, you're right, Amy. It is fun to get messy sometimes. I think this sits on it, something like that. I think I just need maybe a little bit more pink. I think I can lift a little bit up here as well. And a little flick. It is T. It's whatever the last week of September is. So this is the sketch. All right, what do you think? It feels like I could do even more. My paper is starting to pill just a little bit. So maybe I dry it real quick. Don't they, T? They just add the right something. Let's see. All right, I think I'm just going to go in, like on these two sides, it feels a little gray. So I'm just going to see if I can get a little bit more color so the gray doesn't stand out as much. All right, now I think I have swatches for these bad boys. So I think that, do you think that's going to be too bright? I'm going to use that one. And then the turquoise doesn't seem like it's the right color though, so maybe I'll just use the pink. Or maybe, hi Cynthia. I think I have an orange. So I'm using the Spice Collection, but I think I'm just going to use the pink. I think I'm going to try not to go too cray-cray here. So I am going to do a cluster like in here and up in here. Oh, you know, one thing I wanted to do before I did this is I was going to draw around a couple more times in brown. I wonder if I need to do that. I think I will though, because otherwise it doesn't feel very well like tied together. So I'm just going to use walnut stain. And I might use my bigger what I really need to do is like cut out some like large shapes like stars and circles and stuff like out of acetate. So I always like have it in my stash for doing larger things. And then you're going to use a yard. That's really big. Maybe I'll just put this in a different. This poor paper, hopefully it withstands the abuse here. Okay. Then we're just going to do a few little splatters. That's pretty wet. Let me soak this. Since this brown is given lots of big splatters, I want to try to have them more than just in the one spot. Of course, now when I like want one, it's resisting. There we go. All right. Let me see, am I missing anything? I probably shouldn't have done, well, no, it's fine. Swatching for me, if I don't swatch it, I'll just put it on it and it will be wrong. So I have to swatch everything. All right. So far, so good. Do we want to do a little stamping before I do the paste? I have this dot stamp that I was thinking of that I haven't used yet. Sounds good, Amy? So maybe I'll do this in a couple of the areas that maybe a little bit right here above where the photo is going to be. I don't want to go too far into the circle. I'm not sure how much of that is really going to show. And then this guy. If my picture is going to go like in here, I think this will be far enough where it doesn't get completely buried behind embellishments. Then a little bit in here. And then maybe a little bit right here. All right. Yeah, I haven't used that stamp before. I have like, it comes in, it's a set of 4. I don't know if you have the set. And that is the only one I hadn't used before. So I'm glad I got it out. Let me just spray this stencil down real quick. So this is what we have so far, so ignore this. Oh my gosh. I'll figure something out. Any suggestions are welcome. I'm hoping, like I said, that maybe I'll do embellishments up to that point. I know it's so exciting to watch paste dry. Okay. I think it's close enough to, at least it's tacky. So the sketch has like a strip at the top and the bottom. I did pull, you know, it has all that orange in her picture. I don't have any orange. I guess I'll wait before I panic because the pumpkins will add orange. But I might come back with some orange paste. We'll see. I can also see have an orange. I was going to use purple at the top and the bottom, but I do have like an orange like this. I wonder if I have any more of those. I ended up with so much of this collection because I really liked it, and I think it was like a good deal. And then I have no fall photos. And I don't think I left enough room for my title either. So that might change. Okay, so if I do my picture here, I pulled out some elements already. Do flower here. I don't like these. Have some pumpkins on them. And before I make more of a mess, I'm just going to get my colored pencils out of the way here. Wipe this down, or else I'm going to get this color on everything. Remove everything up. I don't know. I wonder if I just took some white paint, if it would cover it enough. Or if I had all this, I think there was like some floral rub-ons. Or like a little butterfly. Maybe I'll do that. That one feels like it needs to be like sitting on something. So maybe this one. There we go. I'm happy now. All right, so this is kind of, you know, the direction I'm going to go in. And I still have like lots of time. So I think instead of just having this cluster up here, I'm going to just make it a little bit larger so it curves down. And then I'm going to find a title before I get too far. I could do Fabulous Fall Day. Love this probably fits better. So probably one of these, or the other thing, I guess I should have thought of, if I have it. And I must have used it. I was thinking, you know how in 49 and Market they always have like large and small. But I do have Thankful, but I think I'm just going to use one of these two. And I think it's going to be Loved This. Okay. So with their picture, so this one's coming up just a little bit. There we go. So I think that I don't think I got like the 6x8 pad or anything when I got this collection, so I have a couple options. I could just do it on brown. I just realized I didn't end up. Do I want to use this? Let me move all this off of it. Hi, Janet. Hi, Judith. So I am working on one of the 52-week challenges based on the September sketch, which is this sketch here. I'm trying to decide. I cut out this little cut file in case it would work with my mixed media, or in case my mixed media failed and I decided just to start over. But I think I like my mixed media and I don't want to cover it with it. So I'm going to save this cut file for something else. And so I'm going to go ahead and back their picture. I could use orange because now I'm freaking out that I didn't use enough orange in the layout. Still have a couple of these little cards. I don't like either of those, so I think I'm just going to back it on tissue paper and then put it on orange. And that will be that. All right. Thanks, you guys. There was a time when, like, I used tissue paper to back everything. And I kind of gotten away from it. But when it's like primarily a white background, I do tend to use it a little bit more. Since I am just cutting this with my long shears, I'm going to go ahead and rough up the edges. So it doesn't matter if I cut straight or not. So that'll go in like that. So the only other like main decision I need to make is if the sketch has, you know, a pattern paper at the top and at the bottom. I thought this collection had like a purple polka dot. Let me see if I can find it. Guess it's not really purple. It's more of a burgundy. I can put that at the top and the bottom. But it just feels like it's like, I don't know. It's making it, I don't like it. So I think what I will do, I think it just feels like it's making the design too close to the wreath. And so I am going to just cut into my paper instead. So like that. And like that. And then maybe this will solve my concern about not having enough orange too. So then it'll just be like that. Okay, so I think that works. Let me smooth this out a little bit. I'm going to glue this. I could use my tape runner, but for some reason, like, since I'm just using little pieces, with the glue runner, like, when it catches on things, it tends to tear off a little bit easier, I think, than glue. So I'm going to use glue. Okay, I'm gonna bump my photo up. Thank you, Janice. Try to get a little cleaned up. I've successfully covered all of my embellishments. Get them back out here. All right, so lots of times when I do embellishments, you know, I like to have a base layer. So right now I have that floral cluster, but I want something that's kind of popping out from behind their picture as well. And I just had, so I'm going to use this over here. I wonder if I can work this in. I cut it. So that will go on there, something like that. Now it always bothers me when like I have an edge showing like that, so I will definitely cover that when I get to that point. And I want my pumpkins to really show. I wonder if I had a tall pumpkin. In fact, I'm wondering where the pumpkins went that were, oh, here's one. I might use this one that has like that floral cluster in it. I'm going to cut him too, because I want to try to do it so that I really like this mesh. So I want that to show somewhat. So if I do that over there, and have another pumpkin behind it. This collection has a ton of leaves. I don't want anything too huge. Feels like I already have some good size elements there. So if I take some leaves and tuck them in between the two pumpkins, it really doesn't add, you know, it's really one thin layer. It doesn't add any bulk, but it makes it look like, you know, you're really seeing through something to be able to see those, that pumpkin. I don't know if that makes sense. There's also some, longer green one that might stand out a little bit more. Since I have one butterfly, I can either add another rub-on. I don't know if I want the ones that have the white on them. I don't know that I like that color. And then something like that. Then I could use some white just to break up all the color a little bit. Something along those lines. Or maybe it needs a little bit of teal. Yeah, so I think it'll be something like that. And then down here, maybe something along those lines. Use the little stamp to break up those pumpkins. The jury's out on this flower or these leaves. They're pretty big. So maybe something like that. I could also, I have more of those rub-on butterflies. I have this pink one I could use up here instead of that guy. Could put one up here, maybe the pink one. Like that. Then maybe one here. Maybe the purple. And then I think I'm pretty close to being done, other than the gluing everything down part. So yeah. I can put a butterfly over here. I'm just gonna go butterfly crazy. I can tell already. I did not check to see who else was live this week, but I'm pretty sure. What day is today? Today's Tuesday. I think I picked today because the rest of the week was pretty full. So be sure to check your calendars and get online and support those designers. And other than that, I think I'm about done. The only other thing I might do is I might go through my little rub-ons, my word sheet, because it does have, you know, some little phrases that I might use here and there. But other than that, I really like how this turned out. I might stitch here and here. Yeah, but for the most part, it is done. So thank you for joining me today. And I will see you next time. And yeah, thanks everyone.